Have you ever been kicked out of your dream job, right after breaking historic record for the company? I had just taken our team's sales to an all-time high, and barely a week later, I was fired without even a thank you. Something didn't feel right, and I knew it the moment he reached out to shake my hand on day one. Things were going to change, but not for the better. Well, what he didn't know was that his foolish move didn't just back me into a corner, it also sealed the downfall of his own career. This is a story about envy, blind power, and the heavy price a boss once had to pay. My name is Derek Lawson, and I live in Dallas, Texas. I've been in sales for 15 years, and for the past 9 years I was with Iron Ridge Technologies, a company that provides business management software. Not to brag, but I was one of the people who helped turn Iron Ridge from an unknown name into a serious competitor in the industry. Just last month I closed a $3,200,000, 0 cents deal. The biggest contract in company history. That didn't happen by luck. I spent months building trust, meeting with the client, and tailoring the solution down to the smallest detail. When the new boss, a guy named Greg Tillman, was brought in from headquarters, I saw it in his eyes from day one. He wasn't here to learn. He was here to control. Greg was in his 40s, slick suit, cold tone. In our first sales team meeting, he didn't ask questions or try to understand the team. He jumped straight into laying down new standardizations, slashing client meeting budgets, enforcing weekly KPIs, and most notably requiring me to report every single thing I did daily. I tried to stay professional. I thought give him some time, but within weeks I realized he saw me as a threat. Greg didn't like that too many people trusted me. One time, I was showing a new rep how to handle a tough client situation, and Greg cut in, saying in front of everyone, "Lawson, let them figure it out themselves. You're not the team lead here." I smiled, said nothing. But from that moment on, I was on alert. He started nitpicking everything I did. Random check-in meetings, questioning my client expense reports, even asking me to explain why I used my personal iPad for a product demo instead of the company laptop. But what I didn't expect was this. Right after I sealed the record-marking deal, something any company would celebrate for a whole month, Greg called me into HR. Termination of employment, effective today. What's Dundee? What's the reason? I asked. Dude, Greg simply said, "The company needs a new direction. You no longer fit our current culture." I laughed, not out of sadness, but because I knew, right then and there, he had just shot himself in the foot. See, I wasn't just the guy who landed the company's biggest client. I was also the one who trained most of the current sales team. The one they turned to when things got tough. I didn't say another word. I stood up, shook Greg's hand, looked him dead in the eye and said, "Good luck, you're gonna need it." Then I walked out of that building, without looking. I had lost my job, but Greg had just lost something far more valuable. I left the office in silence that day, but in my head, thunder was roaring. 15 years of experience. Dozens of loyal clients. The relationships I had built with my teammates. Greg thought a piece of paper could wipe all that away. He was wrong. And I knew that with just one phone call I could shake the very empire he was trying so hard to control. For the first 3 days after being fired, I didn't rush into anything. I walked more. Thought more. And most importantly, I didn't call a single person in the industry. I wanted to see what Greg would do, if he had any idea what storm he had just unleashed. Then the messages started coming in. First was Brandon, the guy managing the southern region. "Derek, I'm still in shock, man. That guy's insane. Whatever you're planning, count me in." Then Melissa, who shadowed me for a year and is now one of the company's top 3 reps. "A client in Houston asked why you weren't at the meeting. I told them you'd left the company, and they said if you're not involved, they'll cancel the contract." I replied with just one sentence. "Give it one more week." On day 4, I opened my laptop and created a new email. Derek@novasesgroup.com. A name I'd been holding on to for years, like a star that burns bright after darkness. Rented a small office space in Frisco. Nothing fancy. Room for 5 people, max. Bah, but I didn't need many. I just needed the right ones. I reached out. Less than a week later, all four resigned from Iron Ridge and flew in to meet me at the new office. No contracts, no paperwork. Just a handshake. We worked around a long shared table, passing coffee back and forth, using a whiteboard to list one simple thing. Top 20 major Iron Ridge clients we already have relationships with. And you know what happened? Within just 3 weeks, 9 of the biggest clients reached out to me. Not the other way around. They called me. One IP director from Austin even said, "You're the only one who understands how we operate. We don't want anyone else. When can we sign?" I laughed. We didn't even have our own software yet, but I had a plan. I partnered with a small development firm out in Seattle, a team of young, hungry coders who were eager to build and customize based on exactly what our clients needed. We called it NovaFlow, a lightweight, flexible solution with one key difference: exceptional client service. The kind Irons had long forgotten. Week by week, my phone wouldn't stop ringing. The stories I started hearing from the other side. Greg had called for an emergency meeting after learning that at least 6 major clients were preparing to switch vendors. More and more employees were quitting, not over money, but because they couldn't take the micromanagement and the arrogance any longer. And then, exactly 3 months to the day, I walked out of Iron Ridge. Greg's been called back to Chicago by the board. Sales director position is now empty. But it's too late. The damage is done. You won, Derek. It'll be great to reply to that message. Everyone's too busy. Busy signing a $5,800,000 0 cents contract with a nationwide retail group. Twice the size of the deal, they once told me, didn't align with the company's new direction. From a start Nova sales group out of revenge. I started it because I believe real value doesn't come from a logo or a fancy title. It comes from people, trust, and how you treat others. Greg fired me because he thought I was a threat to his control. But what he never understood was this: real power doesn't come from a title. It comes from the respect others are willing to give you freely. Today I've got a team that trusts me, clients who would follow me anywhere, and a company growing stronger by the day. Not because we're sitting on mountains of funding, but because we have something stronger: reputation and loyalty. And Greg? Last I heard, he's out there looking for a new job. But no one in the industry wants to touch the guy who fired the wrong person of the year. 1 year after I was fired, Nova Sales Group had become a serious name in the business software world. From a tiny office in Frisco, we'd expanded to 2 more branches, one in Phoenix, Arizona, and one in Atlanta, Georgia. The original 5 of us had grown into a team of over 40. Not just talented people, but people who shared the same core belief. Put the customer first. Build everything on trust and sincerity. Not a single day goes by where I feel arrogant about what we've built. Because I remember exactly what it felt like. Standing alone in the old company parking lot, holding a termination letter, trying to make sense of what had just happened. That moment changed me forever. It didn't destroy me, it freed me. Freed me from comfort, from autopilot. I stopped living just to hit KPIs and started living to build something meaningful. Then, in September that year, I got an email from someone I never expected. Emily Ford, the former head of HR at Iron Ridge. Hi, Darren. I just left Iron Ridge. Greg's gone. The company went into chaos, and the parent firm sold it off after heavy losses. I'm writing to say thank you. Yes, but you inspired me to start over. We get to meet someday. Not for work, but just so I can thank you properly. I read that email over and over. Not because I needed praise, but because it reminded me. Every action, good or bad, has ripple effects. There's one day I'll never forget. A major business conference in Houston, Nova was invited to speak on excellence retention strategies in a hyper-competitive market. As I stepped on stage, I looked down and saw at least 4 familiar faces, former Iron Ridge colleagues, now leaders at other companies. I opened with a single line. Lida was fired right after breaking the company's all-time sales record. At the time, I thought my world had collapsed. But today, I want to thank the man who fired me. Because if he hadn't... The room went silent. Then came the applause. Not because I was brilliant, but because everyone in that room understood the pain and the journey. A week after that event, I ran into Greg by chance at a small coffee shop in Plano. Older, worn down, shirt wrinkled, no longer the polished executive. Okay. I was about to walk away. Derek, I should probably be the one avoiding you, but I owe you an apology. Sat down. Not because I held a grudge, but because I was curious. What does a man say after trying to destroy someone? Craig admitted it. I was under pressure to prove myself. And when I saw how respected you were, I felt threatened. I made a mistake. I've paid for it. I nodded. No anger. No ego. Peace. I left the cafe, leaving him with his cold coffee. And I stepped back into the light. A place I belonged all along but had been pushed from by someone who never knew how to value others. And if there's one thing I want to leave you with, it's this. If you've ever been hurt because someone failed to see your worth, don't lose hope. Maybe that rejection was the push you needed to find the path you were truly meant for. Don't let anger lead you. Let your principles and your values be your compass. Because sometimes, getting kicked out of your comfort zone is the greatest gift you'll ever receive. Derek Lawson's story is living proof that adversity can be the very thing that fuels your greatest success. He didn't fight back with bitterness. He built something better with integrity, kindness, and real value. Many of us have been misjudged, overlooked, or pushed aside. But that's not the end. It's the start of something greater. If you're willing to believe in yourself and never abandon your core values. What do you think about Derek's journey and how he overcame adversity? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to follow the channel for more powerful, real-life stories about resilience, family, and purpose.